Good afternoon, Sudhindra, and warm welcome to you on behalf of APAC News Network. Very briefly, APAC News Network is a media organization, and the co-founders were some of the core team members of Elects. You will know Elects Media. So traditionally, the team has very strong focus in government, healthcare, and education. Perhaps the only B2B media in last 1 year even hosted PM Modi in one of our platforms. And now we are also looking at enterprise IT and BFSI and see ways to synergize each of the verticals with each other. So today's discussion, one obviously, as always, I would like to have an update on the products and solutions from Access specifically. To some of the use cases of these new solutions, and we'll take up specific areas from there. So maybe if you can start with the update on products.
Okay, sure. So, Rajneesh, thanks for, having me on the show, and, thanks to APAC, Dialogue, to put me on the show. From an access, point of view, as you would be knowing, we are always a company in the forefront of innovation. So we take innovation in terms of our products and the technology. So the latest is basically from the access point of view is our cameras, especially focused on the explosion protect, right? So this is one thing. Access had the PTZ cameras, the fixed cameras, the bullet cameras, and various ranges, but now we are coming out with the explosion protect cameras as well. So that's the latest in our offering. This would help most of the critical infrastructure, the manufacturing units, and very hazardous environments. They can use the access cameras to basically help stop spread the explosion if it were to happen, right? So that's the latest that's really coming out. The other thing that we are launching in the India market is our access control solution, right? So even though this was globally launched product portfolio, Access has launched it in India, and customers in India can benefit integrating our cameras with the access control, which customers have been waiting for quite some time. So that's quite new as well. And we've got a series of launches coming from our audio portfolio as well, because the audio we added as a add-on to the video solution. And most challenges we found with the customer was when the video surveillance is happening and an event is happening, they're not able to automate the announcement, right? So we found this challenge, and it's addressed with our network speaker and the network mic solution, which helps customers integrate video with audio, and they can automate announcements. It can go to a control room for somebody to make very specific announcements, etc., right? So that's something new as well from our side. And of course, the whole end-to-end portfolio now we are totally completing. We launched our the network video recorders and the software now that integrates our all our network cameras, all our speaker systems. It also integrates our audio systems, right? And radars, the entire the access control, and the door station. So this can combine, if it is a sub 100 device installation, people can look at Access being the total turnkey end-to-end solution provider, right? So this is the whole suite of product offering that's coming in from Access, and we try to make life easier for our partners and our end customers to create a smarter and safer world.
So my point is, for many of many of your customers would already be existing customers, and they would be using one or other of your products already. So some of the newer products you talked about, and as well as the end-to-end solution where you had the network video recorder earlier. So how have you charted out a migration path for the existing customers so that wherever necessary they can add on the new product, but it's not a complete refresh that they have to do? How have you managed
Yes,
that?
yes, yes, yeah. So, so very good, question, Rajneesh. See, from an access point of view, we always made open, systems, right? We didn't want to lock any of our, customers with the proprietary technology. So the video, solution, which was already there since the last, 25, close to 30 years now, right? So, and this has been very vastly deployed in the marketplace, and our audio solution just adds on onto the existing video solution, right? So you don't need forklift upgrades in terms of making upgradation to your existing video network to integrate our audio, right? Likewise is access, control. Likewise is our radar system. Likewise is all the other sensors that we're trying to, bring about in the entire, system as far as the customer is concerned. So so we believe in the open, system, and customers can very seamlessly migrate into any of the newer technologies that we're talking of without any forklift, upgrades, right? So that's always been one of the USPs of access. We integrate well with most of the video management and the command and control, system, and it integrates well with the open system, platform, which helps talk to different other sensors in the system in a very seamless, fashion, right? So we don't lock in, customers only with access with proprietary kind of, technology. So it's always open system, that we're going for.
So, what I'd like to understand, what the extension of what you said. See, one, obviously, that will help since the systems are open. It would help if any customer is using one product of, say, even a competitor, they can use an Access product, and it will seamlessly integrate. My question is, one, for the end-to-end solution that you talked about, and some of the other newer products. Uh, what sort of use cases you can illustrate, especially in the recent months?
Okay, sure. See, when we talk about end to end, we don't propagate our end to end to any type of installation, right? So we categorize our installation into a small, medium, and large, installation, right? When you talk about a sub 100 device installation, it could be a mix of cameras, audio system, few access controllers, right? This is where the complexity really comes in, because if you have to go to a lot of third party for the solution, right? You need the network switches, you need storage, you need software, you need the servers, you need some analytics, etc. This is where it gets very complex for the integrator and the customers, because they're talking to many different parties for a small and medium installation. So the problem we solve here is basically for customers with the small and medium size installations, right? So they look at integrating the video with access control, with audio and the door station, all under one platform, right? So that is where we simplify. When it comes to really multi-location installation, people need redundancy. The number of devices in the system go beyond 100. Then we look at an open architecture where we integrate with many of the video management software. We integrate with the command and control software. So that gives a very seamless integration for enterprise class customers, where they can integrate all these things into with an open system architecture, right? So it's clearly small and medium go end to end. Very large enterprise installation go with the ecosystem, which is the third party solutions, which is open based.
And these different models that you are mentioning, the way these installations happen, and if we look at from Access go-to-market perspective, now how would you differentiate the go-to-market for these different kind of installations in these different customers?
Okay, sure. See, I think it's a very good, question again. See, when you look at how these the complex installation happens, right? Thousands of cameras integrating with different types of sensors in the system, very large recording. They need redundancy, somewhere else, like for a city project, or it could be a large enterprise with various different kind of needs. It needs integration with access, control as well. Now, there's a lot of complexity involved with different types of equipment in the system, and you need a good integrator to understand the complexity and implement it for the customer, right? So this is where our uh, the solution partners really come in, right? We have the global system integrators, or the multi-regional partners as we call. So they have a lot of experience. They work not just with Access in India but globally, and these companies have the know-how to integrate all the different types of systems, large systems for the end customer. And we also have very niche solution partners in the country whom we train very deeply with our boot camp and academy trainings, where they have the knowledge to make it integrate different types of systems and make it work for the customer. So this is where the large project or the large installation really comes in, right? When it comes to the small and medium, what we are trying to do is we are trying to go after basically the tier 2 system integrators, right? So these system integrators have got very niche end customer focus. They have very captive customer base. They have very loyal customer base, and for them the complexity is how to integrate video, audio, etc., right? So for them, they're good in servers, they're good in storage, they're good in IT, right? They're good in, say, networking. Now, how do you add video, audio onto your existing customer base? So that is our go to market, where we're trying to approach these channel partners who are not necessarily security surveillance partners, and that is giving us the tier 2 channel base, where we're saying, hey, if you're looking at integrating a small and medium kind of installation, we make it simple for you, right? You go to your captive customers and say you can do these projects, because Access builds the simplicity for you in terms of implementing this solution for end customers, and it helps you sell more into your existing end customer base. So this approach is working for us, because we see a lot of people from IT, from the networking, compute, storage, etc., taking our solution because it's very simple. We train them, and suddenly they have 25-50 loyal customers, and they say we can do it for you, right? You need not go to the security specialists who are doing the big projects. So that's one go to market we are trying to address. The other thing we're trying to address is when it comes to audio, right? The audio specialist partners, partners who are into audio visuals, boardroom solutions, etc., who were not necessarily historical Access partners in the past, right? They're the ones we are trying to address, because it gives us additional channel for us to go, because they understand audio much better. They're already doing audio visual and public announcement kind of solutions for their customer. So it gives us an opportunity to go after them and to their customers as well, because a totally new solution. Here it's something like people who migrated from analog CC cameras way back 20 years back to IP CC camera. Here the story is move from analog audio systems to IP audio systems, because it's simpler to do, the quality is good, it solves a lot of complexity, and you can also integrate your video with the audio, right? So this is giving us the additional go to market with audio specialist kind of partners, right? And then we also run a program called as an end-to-end specialist channel partners. It's part of the channel partner program, but we've handpicked about 30 channel partners in the country who are very good end-to-end specialists, right? We train them very deeply. We have a program running for them, and we do a lot of demand creation for them through our marketing initiatives. And these, whenever we get leads from our marketing initiatives, we pass leads to these channel partners, right? And they're very specialist. Now it is a small installation, it's a small manufacturing facility, it's a small office which integrates about 25-30 cameras with few audio systems and a door station. Now this kind of complexity can be solved by a end-to-end specialist, right? So we pass the leads on to these guys. So we clearly created a niche for going after the large installations with our multi-regional partners and our solution partners, and the mid and smaller installations through our end-to-end specialists, audio specialists, and the tier 2 partners. So that's our go-to-market.
So here, this brings to one, you mentioned, say, one of these go-to-market categories, the tier 2 system integrators, where you mentioned now increasingly a lot of these IT partners are coming, and gradually they are also looking at. So the tier 2, it's not only the security specialists. Now I'll specifically talk about two other categories here. The GS, the global system integrators that you mentioned, who are handling the large end-to-end projects, and your third category, those 30 specialist end-to-end. So are those also increasingly the IT background system integrators only, or are they the security specialists?
Yeah, mainly, if you look at our end-to-end specialists, they are from IT, right? Because they're more open to look at this particular solution because they understand the IP networking. They're doing most of the things already, right? So they understand the networking as a technology. They're more open to IP-based, systems. So more partners we are able to get into our end-to-end specialists is from the IT background because they already have a strong IT background. They already have a captive customer base. For them, it's just an add-on. We show the opportunity that it's very simple to do, and all you need to do is look at this opportunity to go talk to your end customers for add-on incremental business, right? Just go after your loyal customers, and they'll be happy to give it to you. And it's very simple to do it. Access brings the simplicity, right? So we solve the complexity problem with integrating multiple technologies for a small and medium installation. So we see a lot of interest from the tier 2 kind of system integrators, especially in IT, who are part of our end-to-end specialists program. If you look at our audio specialists, it's a mix of audio partners who are in AV and some are from IT background as well.
So now coming more on the update on the customer base. So if we look at the current, say, let's take the current quarter. So now traditionally, what will be vertical wise the customer breakdown in terms of what will be the proportion of verticals from which the customers, and more specifically for the top three, four of the verticals, what are the major use cases there?
Okay, sure, good. So if you overall look at access, per se, for us the top segments would be obviously the commercial building space, right, which is all your large corporates, large IT companies, any building that we do. We call it as a commercial space, right? So that space is quite huge from a business point of view, right? And then comes, of course, smart city and transportation, which is a big segment for us. Then we have critical infrastructure and government, right? So these are the next upcoming segments as far as we are concerned, and manufacturing and industrial, right? So overall, if you look at if you ask me the top five, I would name these as the top five as far as we are concerned, right? If you look at commercial again, we see that we have installations which are very large in nature, and these are addressed to by our large partners, the global integrators, and a solution gold and silver partners, right? But in the commercial space as well, when you come to the lower end of the enterprise, you have the smaller installation, right, which is typically catered to by our end-to-end specialists and to an extent our solution partners as well. If you look at our end-to-end, we see more offtake in the lower end of the commercial. We see more offtake when it comes to manufacturing as a segment, education as a segment, to an extent is we have a lot of installation and anything that integrates with a public announcement, a smaller say public announcement or opportunity. We see a lot of offtake when it comes to our end-to-end and audio integration as well, right? So overall, these would be the segments where we focus. And when you talk about very specific to end-to-end, it's the commercial space and manufacturing and industrial and education, where we are doing quite good. And when you look at audio, it's pretty scattered. We have installations in smart city, safe city. There's a lot of offtake for the public announcement in junctions, etc. Commercial, we see a lot. We see things like the smaller markets use it for the public announcement because it's very simple to do an installation with access on IP, because it takes away all your complexity on zoning and things like the cabling infrastructure, which could be quite complex in analog audio. The power that needs to be used for audio installation, all the complexity on the cabling, the equalizers, etc., which builds up a lot of equipment and complexity. goes away with an IP installation, right? So the PA, which is the smaller PA announcement, we see a lot for the smaller markets and prisons, for example. So use cases are quite huge when it comes to audio. Education is one of the things where campuses they use for announcements, and to an extent on the background music as well. Retail is again a big market for us for end to end and audio as well, right? So we are able to relate which segments we are good at and what solutions of ours go into these installations as well, right? And I missed critical infrastructure as well, right? So there we see a lot of offtake of end to end with audio, right? Especially on the perimeter, right? The moment they see a video of somebody getting close to the wall, or somebody's trying to throw something on the other side, or jump across, you can actually spot it and make an announcement that we spotted you and you stay away, right? If not, we'll take action on you. So all these use cases are there. So it's a mix. So it's a wide variety of the segments we have and the solutions that go in as well.
Okay, so that's so one. I'd like you to touch upon briefly on the Mysore Palace deployment, which done recently, and maybe give certain whatever it's referenceable deployments which have happened the last 6 months, if I may say, last couple of quarters, wherever names are referenceable.
Sure. I think Mysore city is quite unique as far as we are concerned, because it's one of the most prestigious tourist spots. When it comes to the number of footfalls, is the highest when it comes to the number of footfall per day, and on an annual basis, more than 3.5 million people visit it every year. So from that point of view, it's quite historical and quite prestigious as well. So the journey started, when they were looking at upgrading their analog, camera. They were not getting, good quality images or footages when they zoomed in, and they wanted to look into the area of interest and see what's happening or what had happened already. And there were a lot of failures as well. When incidents happened, the cameras were not working, and they had such challenges as well, right? So this was, I think, the first complexity we solved, and we put the cameras where they could zoom in, and they could see clearly the footages in very low light conditions they wanted. They also wanted in a difficult light conditions, because in Palace it's quite lit in the evening, and a lot of glare on the camera as well. So you still need to compensate for it and give good quality images. So features like the light finder of access, which works in very low light condition, and also the wide dynamic range feature, which works in very difficult light conditions, right? So these features were used, and they were quite happy with the initial installation. And then for them, crowd management was the most important, right? So it's not because the palace had any say threat or whatever, right? There were no such incidents, like that. They just wanted to ensure that it was a good experience for the tourists who are basically coming in, watching this particular place and going out. They also wanted to improve the efficiency, their own efficiency of if crowd gathered in one particular location, then they need to take action on it, etc. And their staff is also quite well informed on where people are queuing up more, where people are gathered more, or somebody is trying to just lean on a wall, which they're not supposed to do, etc. So these kind of things they were able to use the video surveillance as a solution, and also take necessary action, as and when such things happen, right? And also things like if somebody said, I can't spot my child who had come with me, right? So they could use the video surveillance as a technology to see, where the child is, and help in the investigation, over there, right? So this is what they were mainly using. And the other challenge they had was basically the perimeter, right? Basically the perimeter, they didn't want somebody to come too close, or if somebody came too close, they wanted a feature by which they could spot it, and they could also make automated announcement. So they tried to secure the perimeter of the solution as well, which was the other thing which they tried to do. And now as we speak, they're trying to improve by doing it as audio announcement as well, right? So they're trying to look into the audio feature of it and add audio onto video, very similar to what I explained to you earlier. So if they spot somebody at the perimeter, they want to make an announcement. If they see the crowd gathered too much, they want to say, hey, please, please move right to the next hall. If they see incidents which not supposed to happen, right? Somebody's entering a door they're not supposed to enter, or somebody is leaning on a wall, or vandalism, for example. These are kind of things they want to spot and basically make an announcement. And we are in talks through our partner, of course, because ours is a two-tier model and we sell through the channel partner. We are in talks with the authorities to look at how the system can be upgraded with audio as well, right? So overall, they solve the problem of the reliability issue. And there's an issue, the Zoom should work for long, and yet they should see a clear, identifiable, recognizable image. If an incident were to happen, easy to retrieve the footage and see what really happened, or audio announcement in the future, and crowd management, right? Basically a better experience for the crowd. And the uniqueness of the installation is our partner actually installed the whole thing without disrupting, right, the tourist movement, etc., right? And they had to make very special fixtures because the aesthetics, it's a heritage site, right? So the aesthetics should not get really disturbed with the mounts and other things normally that comes across with the camera installation. So they had to blend it well with the aesthetics so that the camera doesn't look out of place and spoils the beauty of the heritage site. So so they did it during working hours, and when the tourists were there, by doing the special mounts, etc., which integrates the camera well and blends well into the heritage site. And it also helped the authorities of Mysore Palace to be more efficient in the crowd management, and more efficient in terms of identifying events, and start the investigation if some incident were to be reported on something. They had somewhere to start, and they were quite efficient, right? So it improved their own efficiency from that point of view, and also protect the perimeter as well, which is the borders of the palace, right? So this is the uniqueness of the installation, and we're quite proud to be associated with the Mysore Palace.
What about some of the recent deployments? If go back last couple of quarters, maybe the major
Yeah,
deployment.
yeah. So I think we've had a lot of installations in the city space. I think Karnal is one of them, right? So that's a latest installation we've done when it comes to this to the city space. And let me just give me a sec. Let me just look up here if I can recollect the other ones, the referenceable ones. But Karnal, I remember for sure. Let me just look up the other ones if I can spot it here. Okay, I don't have it handy here, Rajneesh. I think I can remember, Karnal in the smart city space. But one challenge we have is basically, getting the approval from the end customers, right? Where while we have very good names under our belt, it'll be difficult to basically mention the names, because not all are referenceable, right? So that challenge we have. But we have in the city space, right, more than 30 cities in India use access for either protecting the city, or some sort of a traffic solution on number plate recognition, or red light violation detection. Then we have, if you look at the top IT companies, we can look at most of the top IT companies in India using our solutions. Many global customers use our solutions as well, and some very leading retail and hospitality chains as well use our solutions, right? So and many of the large critical infrastructure in India, they rely on access because of the cyber security feature, and we have a European origin when it comes to our camera. So people go for the cyber secure reasons. They look at our solutions, especially in these segments.
Okay, so In fact, what I'd like to conclude is now in terms of you have these regular updates of products. So now, if we look at the next 2 to 3 quarters, so what are going to be the focus areas? Is it going to be in terms of new features or newer products or newer sort of installations? Whatever areas are going to be the main trust areas for you?
Okay. I think from a business point of view, right? So we are slowly coming out of, I would say, the the second wave of the pandemic, right? So from that point of view, we see the customers are slowly now coming back, right? So I think that's one challenge we see, that we can see that there's some uncertainty, but now customers are slowly coming back, right? But in terms of what's quite heartening for me is in terms of the number of project registrations for Access. It's been quite high, and that's something I'm quite happy, because it shows a very positive outlook for the next 2 or 3 quarters. I see a lot of safe city, smart city, and the Nirbhaya projects going ahead, right? So again, the government is kickstarting these projects, and I can see that the tenders are coming out. Many traffic projects are coming out, so I see positivity there. A lot of data centers move to India, and these are global ones, and because of everything being digitalized, even the local large companies build their own data centers to cater to their employees, right? So data center, we see a large offtake as far as we are concerned. Then that's something which is very positive as far as we are concerned. And then of course we see a lot of these commercial customers, IT companies. As you can see, there's very positivity on hiring. They're hiring thousands of people, right? So there's a lot of attrition, and they're hiring a lot of people as well. So we see expansion in the IT space, right? So all the large IT companies, they're expanding quite well. So we see a lot of upgradation of the existing projects, and new greenfield projects as well that are coming up. And all the global companies, they've gone ahead with the installation, right? So some have even capitalized on a slightly lower real estate price now, right? So maybe same time the next year, maybe the real estate prices may go up, but now real estate is available at slightly lower price, and we can negotiate for better prices. So those who were very sure with the installation have gone ahead with the installation, right? So that's something I see as a positive outlook. But overall, Access maintains a very positive outlook when it comes to overall business in our industry, right? Because we see it coming back.
So one clarification here, the safe city or the smart city or the critical infrastructure projects of the government or the data centers, those are fine. But in terms of the corporates, where you have mentioned the offices, so predominantly most of these offices, barring few months, last 1.5 years, have been working not really from the office premises, and even now from many of these offices, they are still not back, the larger ones. So, has that impacted the business, especially in the corporate sector? And what is the future? How does the
Is there?
future look like?
Okay. Good question. Question, Rajneesh again. See, honestly, they saw it as an opportunity to do the upgradation and the technology migration. It's much easier to do when the employees are not there in office, right? So they saw it as a otherwise they had to look at a downtime, they had to work in weekends or shifts, etc. But now, since the employees is very lean employees, or not many employees at office, it's much easier for the companies to do the technology migration. So we saw a lot of technology migration happen from IT companies, and IT was one sector which actually grew a lot during the pandemic, right? Because everything is digitalized, and everybody is trying to use the services of the IT companies to go digital. So we saw that they adapted to the work culture fairly fast, At the same time, they had this vision of bringing back employees to office in future, so they went ahead with the installation as well. So as far as we are concerned, we saw IT as a segment actually go ahead and invest to beef up their office space and also their data center space, right? So they use it as an opportunity to upgrade the existing facility, go for new facility, and build the new facilities while the real estate prices are lower. And we see now that most of these companies are trying to bring back the employees back to office. If not full, they're saying we'll go a hybrid model, because most organizations are wanting to do it, because working from home you can achieve a lot, right? So it's not that you can't get the things done, but what misses in these type of scenario is the actual culture of the organization, right? People meeting people, the ideas that really come out, that inspiration that comes meeting your colleagues, the normal coffee the chit chat or the corridor chit chat, which brings up a lot of ideas, etc., right? So that is what is missing now, right? So those are things which the corporates want to bring back, the culture element of it, and they're trying to encourage the customers, the employees to come back, right? So from that point of view, we are seeing more offtake with IT companies building their infrastructure.
Thanks a lot. That's great. And just this is not part of the interview, just as an aside. We are having two programs. One is getting a lot of smart cities, defense organizations, and another is a large healthcare event with more than 100 hospitals across the country. So, who would be the right person in access to get in touch with?
This is with regards to events in these areas, is it?
Yes, these are the platforms, and we are
Okay, sure.
bringing these people in there.
Sure. You can write an email, to me. I can, connect you to our,
Oh,
marketeer who would be involved in evaluating these, platforms if it's, relevant
sure.
for us,
My colleague
and
will
then we can revert you.
detail, but
Yeah,
I'll
yeah,
ask to write to you.
sure,
Great.
sure.
Thanks a
Yeah,
lot.
thanks, Rajneesh. Yeah, nice talking to you.